The armed forces of Ukraine shot down two very important aircraft for Russia over the Sea of Azov, which may indicate that the Air Force has received new opportunities. On Sunday evening, January 14, the Air Force shot down the Russian A-50 radar board over the Sea of Azov, as well as damaged the IL-22 Air Command Post. And this information, with new details, was officially confirmed by the Air Force and even by the Commander-in-Chief of the Air Force, Valeriy Zaluzhny. And therefore, now we can discuss how bold these goals were and how this episode can change the war. I especially waited for official confirmation so that it was possible to discuss this situation without further ado. And this morning, the Chief Commander of the Air Force, Valeriy Zaluzhny, officially confirmed the downing of the Russian A-50 and IL-22 aircraft in the Sea of Azov on January 14. Quote, "Warriors of the Air Force, the armed forces of Ukraine, destroyed the enemy aircraft of a long-range radar detection of the A-50 and the IL-22 air control point, not to be damaged, but to be shot down." Further, the hostage showed a video surveillance of the planes on the radar and the moment of their disappearance from the radars. The footage shows that one of the planes really tried to land, but disappeared in the waters of the Sea of Azov. Well, let's stop at what kind of planes are these and why these are really very, very fat targets. Especially if we take into account the fact that two were shot down at once. Aircraft of long-range radar detection, such as the destroyed A-50, allow the Air Force to have an advantage over other forces that deploy the aircraft in the airspace. On board the DRLO, A-50 aircraft is a system of early air warning and control, which detects these systems can see the launch of cruise and ballistic missiles, as well as the operation of air and anti-missile defense. In the Russian-Ukrainian war, the Russian radiolocation detection boards always rise in the air during missile strikes and record the launch of Ukrainian air defense systems. In this way, during the next strikes on Ukraine, the enemy knows the location of the Ukrainian anti-aircraft weapons and can try to bypass them. That is, in fact, this plane is watching how the air forces in the Air Force shoot down missiles, where and by what means. Also, the A-50 is capable of controlling the airspace in which the Ukrainian aviation is operating, identifying targets, coordinating and directing the occupants' combat aircraft. The second advantage of the aircraft is that from a height it is easier to ensure communication with the combat units on the ground, especially with the front aviation, which flies at low altitudes, which makes it difficult to communicate with each other. That is, in fact, it is a large air observation command post. To date, the Russian military and space forces have officially 9 A-50s and 4 modernized versions of the A-50U. But there are questions about the 9 aircraft, and we will return to this later. And the second fat destroyed target is the IL-22M aircraft. This is also an air command post from which troops can be controlled during combat. The aircraft of this type is in the air, and it is impossible to hit it with operational tactical missiles. In the name of this aircraft, the abbreviation PZPU is also used. This is the Air Defense Control Point. In fact, IL-22 is a modernization of the civilian airliner IL-18, and during the re-equipment from the airliner, completely removed the passenger cabin and installed special equipment. In the case of IL-22M, the aircraft was also equipped with workplaces for the crew, and since the 1970s, about 3 dozen IL-22s have been released or equipped. Unfortunately, they have been constantly modernized. According to Military Balance 2022, at the beginning of the large-scale phase of the war between Russia and Ukraine, the RF had 12 IL-22M aircraft and 10 IL-22 of an older version. But back to the A-50 aircraft. It is stated that Russia has 9 such aircraft, but 3 of them are in fact not combat-ready. One of them is under modernization, which has not yet been completely completed. The others are not combat-ready in fact, because they are not subject to repair. Thus, Russia has 6 combat-ready aircraft, but even they have questions. Because in Belarus, I recall, one of the A-50 planes was hit by a drone back in February 2023, and it was evacuated from Belarus. Then the drone hit the intelligence system Shmel, this big circle on the plane. And to this day, Russia is unlikely to have the opportunity to quickly restore such complex systems. And because of that, there were 5 planes left. One of them was destroyed on January 14. And such a loss for the Russian Federation means that it has significantly fewer opportunities to conduct reconnaissance activities in the airspace of Ukraine. That is, now the Russians have fewer opportunities to detect Ukrainian tactical aviation and, importantly, air defense systems. But there is one more very important point that we will, I am sure, reveal in the future. These are unique cases when both A-50 and IL-22 were shot down at the same time. 2 reconnaissance aircraft, which cannot be shot down by operational tactical missiles. Therefore, it can be assumed that the armed forces of Ukraine have new capabilities, which can further drive the Russian Black Sea Fleet and their aviation away from the mainland of Ukraine. In addition, in the coming days, Russia is unlikely to be able to make a new missile attack on Ukraine. Here I will put a lot of dots. We will return to this topic. I will ask you now to write your opinion in the comments to this video. Like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, it is very important. Please also share the link to this video on your social networks. And if you want to support my YouTube channel, all the links to how to do this are in the description of this video. That's all. Thank you all. Bye everyone.